Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Thunder, and this is gonna be the fifth tutorial in the survival game series, and we're gonna continue work on the inventory system and hopefully finish it on this tutorial. So all I've done is import these two images for the stone item and the cooked meat item, which we're gonna create in a moment. So let's go over to assets first. I'm gonna go into items and just add the stones icon to it. Alright, there we go. So let's just test it out to show you guys that that works. Okay, over here. And as you can see, there we go. There's my stone. As you might notice, I'm using the icons from Rust, but I'm just downloading the icons from Google. So don't worry about it. You can use your own icons. So what we're gonna do now first is go to scripts, and we're gonna go into inventory and the item and so script, because we want to do a couple of things. First, we're going to add down here a editor, item and so editor, because what we want is we're gonna be creating a lot of variables down here. Okay, so we do not want to show them all at once. I mean, we could do it, so if you want you can just keep the editor part. It's up to you. But over here what we're gonna do is, for example, we're gonna have it like this: header weapon. Then we're gonna have over here, for example, public float damage. Then over here we're gonna have it header food, and we're gonna have public float nutrition. And as you can see, if I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna go back to Unity. You don't have to do this that I'm doing right now. I'm just doing it to show you all. So if we go to our items, this is of type generic and it's still showing weapon and food. If I make it consumable, it's still showing food and weapon both. So we don't want that happening, so we're going to code that. But if you want it, you can just skip. I'll leave a timestamp on the screen for you to skip to. It's not really necessary, so if you want to make it quick and less work, just do that. But first, let's go ahead and create our consumable variables. So we're gonna make a header and we're gonna call it consumable. And over here we're gonna do public float health change, and I'm just gonna make it equals 10 by default for all of them. And then we're gonna do again same thing for hunger and thirst. Float thirst change equals 10f, and public, actually I'm gonna do it between health and thirst to keep it consistent. Float hunger change equals 10f. So now that we have this, actually, you know what, we'll leave the editor thing for later, as for another video. We'll cover that in the next video. So now that we have this right here, let's go back and create an actual item for food. So you can see health, hunger, and thirst. This won't really matter if you leave it like that, because the next video will make it so that it doesn't show. And anyways, our script won't use an item unless it's marked as consumable. So stones, this is a resource and doesn't really have function besides crafting, we're gonna leave it at generic. And same for hatchet for now. It should be weapon, so if you want, yeah, let's go ahead and mark it as weapon, although we won't be using it right now. So go ahead and right click, create survival game, inventory, new item, and I'm gonna call this cooked meat. And same thing, cooked meat. And for the description, I'm gonna make it cooked meat consumed to satisfy your hunger. Okay, I just put hunger. Great. Alright, so there we go. Now I'm gonna make it stackable, and I'm gonna give it a stack size of 5. Again, this right here is optional. You can just make it so you can only have one on each slot. It's up to you. Now health change, I'm gonna make it 0. Hunger, I'm gonna make it 25, and thirst, I'm actually gonna leave it at 10. So next thing that we're going to do is we're gonna mark it as consumable. And now we are going to go into Unity, and we won't be needing pickup nor interaction handler, so don't worry about that. First, let's go into here and go into assets, go scripts and inventory, and create a C# script, drag drop handler. So go ahead and open it, and we're gonna do a couple of things. This is what's gonna handle all of the dragging and dropping. So over here, what we're gonna do is create a public slot dragged from, and then we're gonna make a public slot dragged to. And then over here we're gonna make a public transform. Actually, we're gonna do image. So as we're doing image, we're gonna need to be using Unity Engine.ui. So let's go ahead and do this. And over here on image, I'm gonna do drag drop icon image. This is gonna be the image that shows on our cursor when we're dragging an item. So next, let's go and update. And over here, we're gonna do, actually we need one more thing. First, I'm gonna add a space right here. And then I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna do, first I'm gonna hide it in the inspector because we don't really need that. Public bool is dragging. Then over here we're gonna do if is dragging and slot dragged from is not equals null. We are going to go ahead and do drag drop image dot sprite equals slot dragged from dot icon dot sprite. And we're gonna do one more thing. Drag drop image dot transform dot position. The position equals input dot mouse position. There we go. So basically what we're doing here is if we're dragging and our slot dragged from is actually, it's not equals null, so it's not null, we are going to make the drag drop icon image equals the icon of the data that we're using, and we are also going to set its position to the cursor position. Now we're going to do an else. So if we're not dragging, we want the drag drop image, drag drop icon image equals dot transform dot position equals new vector 3. We're gonna do negative 10,000. This is just to hide it off of our screen, so it's not showing on our screen. 0,0 and close it. So now we're gonna go into our slot script, which our slot's the one that's going to be handling all of it. First, we're gonna need another namespace, and it's gonna be using Unity Engine .event system. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here right after mono behavior. We're going to do comma I pointer down, comma I pointer down up handler, I comma I pointer enter and pointer exit. So just remember that if we are using this, it's gonna give us an error by default because we need to implement the interface, which we'll do in a moment. But you must be using this in order to have access to all these four functions, or interfaces actually. So we're going to right click on them, quick actions on refactoring, and we're gonna hit implement interface. Do the same thing for the rest of them, and as you can see, our errors are clearing up. So quick actions on refactoring, implement interface, and there we go. Alright, so first thing we want to do, we're going to need a reference to our slot, or drag drop handler, sorry. So up here, we're going to do private drag drop handler. Okay, I'm gonna rename it to drag drop. Okay, so then on start, we're going to go ahead and do drag drop handler equals get component in parent, drag drop handler, close the parentheses and close. Alright, then next thing we're going to do, on pointer enter, if drag drop handler dot is dragging, we are going to go ahead and make a drag drop handler dot slot dragged to equals this. And on pointer exit, we're just gonna copy this and put it over here, but instead of this, we're gonna use null. Alright, next, what we want to do is throw new. Okay, so if it's not drag drop handler dot is dragging, wait. And over here we're gonna do if event data dot button equals pointer event data dot input button dot left, because we want to do this only if it's our left click. Okay, 2 equals, remember, because we're comparing, not setting. And inside here, we're going to go ahead and actually do the code. So over here, what we're going to do is drag drop handler dot slot drag from equals this, and drag drop handler dot is dragging equals true. Now over here on pointer up, we're going to do if drag drop handler that is dragging, yeah, so but in slot drag to no, if it's dragging, we're going to put over here, we're gonna make it so if slot drag drop handler dot slot dragged to equals null. So basically this is going to be your drop function. So drop. We're going to do drag drop handler dot slot drag from dot drop. So there we go. And then we're going to do // drag and drop. I'm just gonna copy this line of code right here. It's not equals null. And we're gonna add an else over here. Else if it's not equals null. Instead of the drop, we're going to do the following. Let's go to, well, let's just do it here first. So we're gonna do, let's go up first. And right below this, we're gonna do private inventory manager inventory, and we're gonna do the same thing here. Inventory equals get component in parent inventory manager. And over here we're gonna do drag drop handler dot actually no, inventory dot drag drop, and we're gonna pass on the 2 slots. So we're gonna do drag drop handler dot slot drag from comma drag drop handler dot slot drag to. Alright, so now let's save it, and we're going to create this function on inventory manager. But first, over here we need to do is dragging drag drop handler dot is dragging equals false, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. Drag drop handler dot is dragging equals false. And let's go to our inventory manager, and let's go all the way down right below drop item. We're going to do public void. So I'm gonna close this once, just okay. So alright, they're all closed, and I'm gonna make it up here instead. So public void drag drop, and we're gonna do slot from comma slot 2, and just the two brackets. Now save it, and we're going to go back into Unity and just do the whole setup and test this out, just to test that we can actually drag items and drop them. We're going to go into all menus, and we're going to add the drag drop handler component, and we need the image. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on canvas, and we're going to do UI dot image, and over here we're going to name it drag drop icon, and you want this to be all the way down on your canvas so that this gets rendered above the whole UI. Otherwise you'll get errors like this showing. Let's say we do it here, it's gonna show below the inventory. So if your cursor's right here, you won't be able to see it. If it's right here, you will, but that's just the rendering order. So make sure to keep it all the way down. Well, you can just notice it here. So take a look at the screen and you can see like it's not showing anymore. So you must do it like this. So now we're going to go into all menus, and we're going to add the drag drop icon. Go ahead and save it, and let me just make sure. Yep, this is a sign. So let's go ahead and hit play, and test it out. So we got this right here, and if I do this and go ahead and drop it, there we go, you can drop it. Okay, but we do have some errors, so let's go ahead and fix those. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to our inventory manager, and let's go to our drop function. So once we do this, first of all, we are going to, just to make sure that it's at the right position, we're going to do pickup.transform.position equals drop pos. Then over here we're going to do drop pos. Okay, drop pos.position. And then we're going to do pickup.setParent, the transform.setParent, sorry. Set parent. There we go. And inside the parentheses, we are going to make it null, because otherwise it will be inside our drop position transform. So as that is inside our player, it will happen what you just saw there, that it will move with us. So we don't want that happening. Let's go ahead and test it out again. Okay, so inventory is empty. Let me just pick this up. If we drag it out, we drop it, and it's right there, and it's not moving with us. So, yep, it works. Okay, so yeah, same thing, works. Okay, so let's keep on going. Next thing that we're going to do, okay, to do. So on drag drop handler, first of all, we're going to check if 2 equals null. Actually, never mind. We're already checking for that. So what we're going to check is if from dot data is not equals to dot data. If it's not equals that, then we're just gonna swap them. So what we're going to do is slot, okay, so swapping slash swapping. We're going to create a ItemSO class to store one of our data. We're going to do data, and we're going to store the 2, so 2.data. And same thing for the stack size. Make an int stack size equals 2.stackSize. Then over here we're going to make it so 2.stackSize equals from.stackSize. And over here same thing, 2.data equals from.data. And over here let's close it. And now next we're going to do so from.data equals data. And from.stackSize equals stack size. Alright? Now one thing we want to do, so outside this code right here, go ahead and do from.update slot, and then we do 2.update slot. The reason I'm doing it over here instead of inside here is so we don't have to be calling these functions every single time we're running code. So we just do it at the end of the whole code, and whichever difference there are, it just updates the slot right away. So let's go ahead and test that out. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play. So I'm gonna pick up a hatchet, and we're going to fix that issue in a moment. So you can see we got it right here. Okay, we might be having an issue. Let me just debug real quick. So let's go to our all menus. Yeah, select all menus, and we can see this slot is not there, but yeah, so we're having an issue right there. Okay guys, so the video is already going, we only have 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna do these outside of cameras, and I'll let you guys know how to fix it in a moment. Okay guys, so I just found out the issue, and I'm also gonna use this to show you guys something about game development, to see how simple it is to mess a whole system up. So you see this drag drop icon? Right here is marked as raycast target. So raycast target means that our cursor interacts with it. So this is getting between the inventory and our cursor. So if we mark it off, you'll see that it works perfectly. It's just a simple value that can mess the whole thing up. You'll see. And I haven't even tested this out. I'm doing it right here live with you all because I'm 100% sure that this is the issue. There you go. You can see. It's that simple to mess something up. Just keep that in mind every single time you're coding. So as you can see, there we go. We got swapping. Although right now, if we make it here, it actually works though. But there's a bug that I discovered while doing this, which we'll fix in a moment. So if we do this, you're going to see that right here, we can drop it and it's empty. When we go pick it up, it's gonna give us an error. You can see right here is a null reference error. So it's pretty simple to fix. Again, game development, a single thing can mess the whole thing up. So over here, we're going to check we're going to do if slot dragged from, actually no, here's what we're going to do. If slot dragged from equals this, so over here we're going to check is in slot dragged from, okay, actually no, this, okay, it's not, is empty. That's as simple as that to fix it. Again, I'm not even sure that it will work because I haven't tested this out, but I'm pretty confident that that's the issue. That's gonna fix the issue. So let's go ahead and open it. There you go. That's coding 101 for you all. A single line of code, single word can mess everything up. Just keep that in mind. So yeah, there we go. We have swapping, but now we have an issue. So this, when we do this, it's not actually doing anything. So if we can swap and do all that, but if it's the same item, it doesn't do anything. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to back to Visual Studio, and we're gonna go Inventory Manager, drag drop. And what we're going to do here is we're doing swapping. So / stacking. So we're gonna do stacking right here. Stacking. We're gonna do else. So if the data is equals to the other slot's data, we're going to have to run a check first. First, we're going to check that is stackable. So if they dragged from slot from dot data dot is stackable. So here what we're going to do is we're going to actually stack them, but first let's make it so it's not stackable. Why am I doing this? Because for example, for weapons, they are going to have greater than 1 because our stack size is going to be our ammo for our weapon system. So I'm just preparing everything so we do not have to adapt any of the code later down. So what we're going to do is, if it's not stackable, which weapons are not going to be stackable, we're just going to swap them. So we're going to run this same exact code. So let's just do Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, and just swap them. And I am going to do something to show you guys. So let's go over here, and one of these hatchets, you don't have to do this, this is just to show you, it's going to be a stack size of 2. And now let's go over here, and these are weapons, so they won't be greater than 1 as they are melee weapons, but still we don't want to switch them, to swap them I mean. So you can see 2 and 1, swap them, you can see we're swapping. Because we don't want to just swap items like stack weapons. So let's say we have 2 M4s, for example, and we drag them on each other. We don't want to stack them and lose a weapon. We just want to swap them. So let's go ahead and now over here in data that is stackable, we are pretty much going to run the same code as that item. So, but kind of different. So I'm going to do it from scratch. So over here, first we're going to check if data, from that data, not that data, that stack size is greater, plus to that stack size is greater than, it doesn't matter here if we do from or to because they are the same data already. So from that data, dot max stack, we are going to run the same code as that item. So let's go to add item, and over here, where if stackable slot found, data that is stackable, we don't need stackable slot found. We're just going to run this code right here. Actually, let's just code it from scratch because it's going to have different names. So first we're going to do an int amount left equals from dot stack size plus to that stack size minus from dot data dot max stack, and we're gonna put the the addition on parentheses. Okay, so over here, and let's close it. Now down here we're gonna do first, whichever amount left is, we're going to go ahead and from dot stack size equals amount left, and then over here we're gonna do 2 dot stack size equals from or 2 dot data dot max stack. We're gonna save it, and we're going to go ahead and do this over here. Let's go ahead and hit play. Okay, so let's pick this up. Okay, so I'm gonna do something, which is gonna be, if I drag this here, it won't do anything, but if I grab this, yeah, there we go. But there is one thing we do want to do, and is test out whether if this is 8 and this is 3, for example, it's going to actually work. So I'm going to manually change their values. You don't have to do this again. Also, it's gonna show still like 10 because this is not updating the code itself, but don't worry about it. I'm just gonna move it and you'll see it update. So if I drag this over here, it should be 1. There we go, it's 1. So that's it. That's dragging and dropping right there, and you can swap your items around, do whatever you want. We're going to actually test it one more thing out. So yep, it works perfectly. So that's dragging and drop. We won't be covering hotbar and consuming because we're already past the 30-minute mark. We should be at 33 minutes, 34 minutes or so. But we're going to do one last thing, and that is to make sure that our raycast is not hitting our player. Because right now what's happening that we cannot pick this up while standing is because it's hitting our player collider. So what we're going to do is select your player, and we're going to go over here to layers, and we're going to add layer. We're going to do player. That's what it's going to be called. Now, reselect your player and assign the player layer. And no, this object only. Leave it like that. I'm going to save it. And we're going to go to Visual Studio. Where is our... Okay, we need to open up our interaction handler. So scripts, not inventory, player, and interaction handler. Now over here we're going to create a public layer mask. Actually, I'm going to name it interaction. Interactable layers. And we're going to do right here after interaction range, we're going to do comma dot interactable layers. Alright? So what this is going to do, it's going to ignore the layers we do not check on this layer mask. And we're going to just ignore the player layer. That's pretty much how it's going to work. So let's go to main camera, all the way down, and over here we're going to select everything and then unselect player. Let's save it and test it out. Alright, so we can, and there we go, we can pick it up again like this. That's it, problem fixed. So next tutorial, which I'll upload right after this one, right after I finish this one, I'm gonna record it and upload it. So we are done with the inventory system today. But next tutorial, what we're going to do is basically generate our hotbar down here, and then we are going to make it so we can consume items from it. So that's pretty much it right now. Also, one more thing I want to specify. Back in here, what I said before, for those of you who might be wondering, I said on the beginning, the first inventory tutorial, that we will need these two for dragging and dropping. That's wrong. The reason I said that was because this is the way I do it on my multiplayer game that I'm developing. called Legacy Reborn. Some promotion in here. I'm gonna leave the link down below to the Discord. It's basically based on Rust Legacy, but I decided to make it into my own game, start as a remake. So if you're interested, I'll leave the link down below and you can go ahead and get into the Discord and take a look at it if you want. But as I was saying, in my multiplayer game, I need reference from this to be able to get the scripts, because you cannot send whole scripts across the network. So that's why I said that. But I'm pretty sure we don't need anything of this. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. I'm going to leave inventory slots though, just for now. We're going to go over here to generate slots. And I'm going to delete this, and this. I'm just gonna save it. And I'm 90% sure we do not need this one either. But for now, we'll leave it like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. You already have an almost done inventory system where you can drag and drop, you can pick up things, and it's almost ready. Well, all we need is the hotbar and you're good to go with the inventory. And then once we get the weapon system done, we will add it so we can equip items like hatchets, weapons, and a lot of those things. And I will also be leaving you the weapon models I use as long as they are free. If I'm using any model that's not free, I won't be able to leave it to you guys, because I do not hold the rights to them. So that's gonna be it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below. It always helps a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one.